Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. Yes, we are here, and wow, Restream is way behind for some reason. I don't understand why that was so far behind, but anyway, we're live, and yeah, we didn't. I had my nephew Mark has been in the hospital this week. He had to have an emergency gallbladder surgery. And so been kind of busy, hectic things going on. And I had contacted a couple of people and asked them if they wanted to be on the show, but I didn't get to pester the hell out of them due to my nephew being in the hospital. So we're here just talking about what we're doing in our shops and what's going on. And we'll keep an eye on the chat. If once we get to a point, I'll open it up where people can tell us what they're doing in their shop. Don't do it right now because we're going to be too busy getting everything going. So, but I know we're live over on Facebook. I know we're live over on YouTube, and yes, we're live over on Twitch. So we're live everywhere. So that's good. So anyway, yes, been a hectic week. A lot of things going on around here. I've been trying to do some yard work, and we're finally starting to get some rain. But the beginning part of the week, my nephew was taken to the hospital, kind of emergency-like. I don't know how to put it other than that. And kind of finding out he had a gallbladder that was bad, and they ended up having to take him into surgery and take his gallbladder. So, but he's doing good. He got out this morning, I think it was, and he's doing good. He's was in a lot of pain for a little while, but everything is doing good. It was he had let it go a little bit too long, to be honest with you, and the doctor even told him, and you know, he waited a little too long. But you know what? It is what it is. So first thing before we go any further, let me talk about my wonderful sponsors, and they are Devobal Technologies for web design, development, and hosting. Visit devobal.com. FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company, your best choice for hard-to-find woodworking supplies. Go to bearwood.com. Clean Spore, the sanding specialist. Woodworkingshop.com. Seiko, the scroll saw specialist. Seiko.com. And if you don't mind, right now, go down there and give me a thumbs up. Yep. I love thumbs ups. I want them, as many of them as you can give me. If you have 30 accounts, then all 30 accounts should give me a thumbs up as of right now. So, and the second thing is, don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel. And if you would click that little bell up there in the corner, it'll let you know anytime that I'm live or anytime that I post a new video. It'll give you that information. So don't forget to click the little bell. And Brenda, where can we find you?
You can find me about anywhere on the internet if you look for Brenda G's Designs. I've got a YouTube channel where I do comedy, and I do a live stream on Thursday nights with a feller named Matt Haas. And we talk about all kinds of issues and things on the show. And it's mostly for odd but true facts. And the name of the show is Mind Equals Blown at 7 o'clock on YouTube Eastern Time there on Thursday. And we do giveaway about every week. So hope everybody will join us there. And I got a group there on Facebook. So just look for Brenda G's Designs. That's where you'll find me.
All right, good. Paul.
Paul Corliss from Paul's Messy Workshop. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, and here on Saturday nights.
Well, that was short. You didn't give me time. Chris.
Hey gang, Chris here, the Old Cranky Workshop. Find me on YouTube, Facebook, and if I'm not there or in the shop, you're going to find me floating in the pool. So hopefully face up. Thank you. Be here all week.
Dixon.
Hi, I'm Dixon Hoffman. You can find me at hoffmansignsandDecals.com, and I do a lot of 3D printing.
And Jim.
Jim has no audio.
Jim has no audio.
Now it's his turn.
Chris was having audio problems in the pre-show, and now it's Jim's turn.
Oh, sorry, I pushed my phantom button by accident. Jim Bashir's Driveway Workshop. You guys all know the story. I say it every week. I am impressed. Ryan's out there from Maker 238 Deloach, and he got out of his pool without turning blue today. So if you've watched his video, you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah, he painted himself inside of his pool.
Painted into a corner.
Well, I thought it was impressive, but hey,
anyway, so this is for Jim first. Yes, he had painted the edges of his pool, and he left him no way out. So it's kind of like painting yourself into a corner, like you're painting the floor and you paint yourself into a corner, and you have to sit there and wait for it to dry for you and get the hell out. So yeah, so I don't think he intentionally did it, but I think you should have thought about that. In all sincerity, I'm not going to call you a DA, but in the same aspect, you kind of should have thought about that.
Must be nice now because we're all waiting for the invite to this pool party.
Oh, I know. But, yeah,
he's got to come back on the show and show off that pool when he's done.
I know. I'm waiting for him to finish it so we can invite him back. But been a hectic week for me. And Brenda, you said you've been cleaning house all week, so you don't have anything that you want to show off, do you?
Well, I've been cleaning house. I made a pot of taco chili the other day, and the last thing I made is this box that I showed there on the show last week.
Oh yeah, I know that is actually
box.
My wife thought that was very pretty. Those little ladybugs. She said, "Wow."
Nice.
So that's the last thing that I've made. All my craft stuff's packed up because I'm redoing about every room of the house and trying to do a deep clean, and probably gonna take me all summer to get everything done.
Have you killed any of them little
kids?
Well, not yet. The summer ain't over.
Oh, well, I know you posted that they were in your flower garden, and I was just hoping. I was like, oh God, she's going to shoot on my nose. She's going to jail.
No, I called the cops on them. I talked to their mother, and the cops was like, well, kids will be kids. And I said, well, if you're not going to do anything about it, then if they come back over here again, I'm just going to call CPS. We'll let them take care of it. Right. And so far, I have not seen them. Now, there has been evidence that they have been here because they left candy wrappers laying all over the yard. But, I've not seen nor heard them. So at least they're being quiet.
Yeah, I just can't. I just can't fathom that people would allow their children. It's a different time. If I went over and messed in one of my neighbors' yards or what? Well, first off, we lived on a farm way out in the country, so there wasn't any neighbors. But I can tell you what would have happened. Mm-hmm. I would have got my ass beat.
Yep.
Yeah,
that would have been for starters.
Yeah,
that would have been for starters. And then I would have had chores off till I wouldn't have had any time to be going anywhere. And
exactly.
In any time that I wouldn't be doing chores, I'd have been locked up, and I'd probably still be begging to see daylight today.
Have you seen those kids? How old are they?
They're all around 10. They seem to all
Okay.
be from the same family, from what I understand. But I'd say anywhere from 8 to 12, right in that vicinity.
Okay. So
And-
they're not like toddlers or anything. They're
No. And their story is that, well, some of them have ADHD, and I guess one's autistic, and the mother works nights and sleeps all day and don't want them around because they make too much noise. And, it's a whole bucket of excuses, which are none of my problem, and none of my business. My business is to take care of what, I've worked hard for.
stay the hell out of my yard.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What I told
Answer.
Top, he was like, well, kids are going to be kids. I said, not my house. I ain't got any.
Awesome.
I said, they can be
awesome
kids
man.
over wherever they're from.
Aussie man says you ought to take up beekeeping.
Yeah.
I,
Get you a few beehives and put them around. Let them stumble into those.
I think if you really want to get rid of them, if they've been around like Hansel and Gretel and stuff like that, you just side your house with gingerbread. And they'll look at that house and they'll say, well, I'm not going over there.
Tell the cops that is a missing child, and
We've got
they think you're a suspect. That'll keep them away.
Yeah. Robert Crow over on Facebook, and I want to point these people out because they follow us on. And Buster Stott, he says, "Hi, Russ, Buster, and Shirley." Buster Stott from Missouri. So good to have you over there. And then we got Maker 238, Deloach. What was his name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah, Ryan's over there. I'd rather call him Ryan than Maker 238. So Aussie Man's out there. A lot of people are out there. Who? What was this? James Parker, Lynn's Handcrafted Wood Signs is out there. Alex is out there. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, Alex. I'll butcher it. But Robert Crow, once again, is out there. All y'all, Lynn's Handcrafted Wood. I think I just said that. Dixon Hoffman. Yeah, I know. He's on the show. But Jeff Walsma, he was on the show here a few weeks ago. He's out there watching us on Facebook. And yes, we are monitoring Facebook. So if you put your, and Twitch also, if you want you to participate in the chat, all you got to do is type it in, whether you're on Facebook or Twitch or whatever. It'll come through. I'm watching it right now. So, yeah. So, who was the one I last talked to?
Me.
So it'd be Paul.
Well,
Tell us where we.
I am working on my whirligig project,
Okay, cool.
and I would like to show you, but then that would blow the surprise.
Yes.
But one thing
Tell us
I'm
where
doing-
we can find you. Tell
I
us where
already
we
did
can-
that a long time ago.
Oh, you did?
You went through everybody.
I guess I'm a day late and a dollar short.
Yeah.
You
Now
played
we're
the-
supposed to be
you played
talking
the
about what
vlog.
we're doing.
Yes.
Well, okay, so you're working on your woolly gig.
I am. And I'm trying, since I have a new CNC, I'm trying to make the whole thing on the CNC.
Well, that's cool.
And,
That's really
and
good.
the learning curve is taking its toll. It's the
I would
Vectric
imagine so.
The Vectric software is what's taking the toll.
Yes, that has a little bit of a learning curve.
It does, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working on my whirligig project.
Cool. Alex Fonzie, he said, Russ,
Afonso.
maybe I should, how you want to pronounce that?
Afonso?
Afonzia?
Was I close, Alex?
Afonziev? Is that right? Afonziev?
Afonso.
Alex for short.
All right,
Just call
Alex,
him
he
Alex.
says,
That's what
maybe
I
I
do.
should join my another YouTuber personality to avoid my last name. Well, Alex, it's kind of like this. If you want your name butchered, just join right on, because I called my good friend Michelle Marcoux Michael something for years. And finally figured out it was Michelle, not Michael. So
He used to call me Debbie.
yeah, I used to call her
Debbie.
Debbie.
Yeah.
When she first joined it, Brenda first joined us, I would say, "Hey, Debbie," and she goes, "It's not Debbie, it's Brenda." So I mean, so I called
Oh,
her.
the good old days.
He
Yeah,
did that for a year until he found out.
Yeah, it's like I'm the world's worst. I never forget a face, but you can forget it as far as of a name. I can't remember a name. My neighbor moved in 6 months ago, and I've talked to him like, half a dozen times or whatever. And I walked up to him the other day, and we were talking. I'm sitting there going like, he's told me his name like 6 times, and I still damn sure can't remember it. So yeah, I'm not good with names. I remember his face, but I can't remember his name. But Maker said this is not Talk Shop with Ross anymore, ROSS. No, this is not Talk Shop with Ross. So Chris, I know you've been making stuff, and actually, I don't know if we talked about this in the last couple of shows, but you actually found a place that you have your some of your artwork.
Yeah, some of my guys have seen my parrots and toucan, and the pelican's not there, but there's a store nearby that brings in local artists to sell their works, and they take a little cut, which is fine, and you make a few bucks on it. So my birds are down there right now. Nothing sold yet, but it's still early, so I'm not worried about it. But I'm getting other things ready to put up there now too. So I went and started making little starfish.
I know, I saw those. Those are so cute.
And this is,
I mean, you're artistic. You're artistic. The way you paint and everything. That is so good. I wished I was that talented. I mean, you do have a talent for that.
And this is one of my favorites. The double tooth guy here. So, but
Bucktooth Starry.
Yeah.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna put you on full screen. Hold both of them up again. Solo layout. Do it again. Yep.
This one, and we got this one.
Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Smooth paint job.
This is just pallet boards, parts that usually you cut them off, toss them because they're too small to use. If I can trace out a star on it, I can use it.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Cool.
So I think once I get a pile of these ready, I'll take them down there. I'm thinking $10-15. And the ones that are too thin to stand up on their own, put a magnet in the back, and they're refrigerator magnets.
Yes, there you go. Heck yeah.
And this is amazing work at this store. I look around and I'm thinking I'm really outclassed. But you got to put your foot in the water sometime.
Well, but in the same aspect, when you think you're outclassed, sometimes people are looking for the type of work that you're doing that is not that, Rembrandt, or what I'm saying? It's just that little simplistic kind of art piece that they're looking for.
Are you saying I'm on the same level as Rembrandt? I'm out of here.
I better go paint some more.
So no,
you get what I'm saying. Some people are looking for that little. Think about it. When you go into Hobby Lobby, some of the stuff that you look at and you go like, people are actually buying that.
Yeah, I go there and I price things sometimes. Like, really? They're getting $30 for that?
Yes. So, I wish you a lot of luck because it looks. I like it. It looks good.
I hope the stuff sells. It's a beach place, so I got to come up with some more ideas that are shore like beach oriented. So
what about like lighthouses and stuff like that? Maybe
there's already a ton of them in there. I thought about that, but there's a ton of them.
Yeah, you got to create your own niche.
Right, exactly.
Well, I live like just south of Lake Michigan, and a lot of people like those around here because the people that live up on the lake front, on the beach and stuff, they put them out there and use.
They're taking them back to their summer place, and the house is full of them. So
yeah,
but so I'll come up with some more ideas. I'm thinking of already taking the stars and putting a little pedestal under it with a slot and top for table place markers. For weddings or showers, whatever. And,
yeah, exactly.
Leonard
Brian
Davis
Warner is joining us over there on Facebook. He says, "Hi guys," And he says, I sell more small single items than the large ones. They're honestly my bread and butter. And that's right.
Leonard
Yep.
Davis wanted to know if it's a consignment shop that you have your stuff in.
Yeah, I'd say it qualifies. Yeah, but they take a cut of your sales. I think it was, I forget, 10,
Well,
30%.
the consignment shop does that too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not worried about it. You know, it's getting my foot out there, and you're gonna try it eventually instead of just selling to friends all the time.
Aussie Man says, why do you think Aussies call everybody mate? That way we don't have to remember their names.
Hey, that's brilliant.
Hey, mate.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. I just start calling everybody a mate. But yeah, that's good. Dixon, what have you been doing?
I've been making these. I have a whole bunch of these are little razor knives. So I made a bunch of them and I already gave a bunch away to my brothers.
Show us how that worked, because that was pretty
It's a
interesting.
2-piece. And you just take the button and you push it out and it snaps in the back. You can see it's got a little mechanism there to clip back and forth. And then it's got a keychain ring too. So it's good for opening up all your Amazon boxes. And then you just grab it and swing it back in there.
I like it. That's
And the
pretty
little
cool.
lever there, I got my initials on.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get done, I'll be sending you guys the STL file for it.
We all
Yeah,
know
that's
we're
pretty
getting
cool.
Christmas now.
I like it. I like it. All
I
right,
know, Dixon, you
Jim.
gave them to your brothers already. That's Christmas gifts. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Jim, what have you done? Nothing?
Talking to Ryan. Come on.
Well, that's a full-time job.
Okay.
Have
Yeah.
you-
So anyway, do you want me to show you stuff or share my screen or what do you want to do here? Because I was busy the last couple of
any
weeks.
way you want it, that's the way you can do it.
Let me try to. Paul, can you help me share my screen?
Yeah. I'll be glad
Hang on
to.
a second. Share.
It doesn't matter to me.
Share
I am open, and how do you want to put it?
All right, hang on.
I
I'm
have an
sharing my
open
screen.
relationship, so therefore you can do anything you want.
We talked about all that before the show. I didn't think you'd bring
Yeah.
it up, but
I have an open relationship, so therefore go for it.
Okay, my screen share. If you could.
Well, it ain't up there yet. I'm waiting on you.
Okay, hang on. There's
You
stuff
want to
up
have
there.
it open.
How am I supposed to open your? How am I supposed to let you open it when it's not there?
Okay, it's there now.
Okay, well there you go.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so
Oh,
I
you're
was
going to
back-
bring these up.
I'm going to bring these up because
these
Russ
are
is
ones
right.
you're gonna bring up?
Beat
My
him to
wife saw
death.
those and she said, "Did you see what Jim made for his wife?" And I went like,
Can you see what Jim made?
Now, are
So,
those
yeah,
cedar, Jim?
What's that?
Are those cedar?
Cedar, yeah, right.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
Fence pickets. This whole thing is made out of fence pickets, glue, and 1-inch brads.
Neat.
yeah, it
The
looks
whole-
good
the whole
though."
thing, yeah. Let me get
And when you
another-
told us the price of those fences, that's a good deal.
Well, I bought the fence pickets like a year or two ago, so they were
Oh.
only like $4 or $5 bucks a
so-
piece, if that much. When they
For
go
the
on
they
big
sale
look
like
good.
that, I try to buy a bunch of them because
Nancy saw your I swear, Nancy saw your post, and she immediately, because we have been working. I've been working in the yard and stuff, and she immediately walked over and held the phone in front of me and went like, "Look what Jim made." And I'm like, "Asshole."
I'm sorry. What else did I do? Nope, that's for next. Hang on. So I took a piece of maple branch, turned a bowl out of it.
Oh,
Did
neat.
that last week.
That looks nice.
I Hampshire sheened it up, and yeah, it turned out pretty good. Except that, like over in this area, I couldn't get it was pretty punky dry wood, so it was
Right,
kinda
but
hard to
I mean
turn,
that
but
leaves
still.
it. Yeah, with the natural look of the way that it's like, how you want to say it, discolored
It's
wood. You know,
really, yeah, it's
yeah,
salted
salted.
really
There
well.
you go. That's
I've
the word
got
I was looking
another, the other side of this. I cut this in half, and I'm going to try to turn that too and see if I can get a better dish out of it or something. But
Yeah, it looks good.
and then all those parts laying on the table are my templates for, for not the bowl, but for I'm going to copy this whirligig for the whirligig contest.
Oh, cool.
Because I just love the like folk artish kind of look to it. And I've gone through, and I'll have to show you when I get the video camera.
Now, where did you get that original whirligig?
I found it at this junk garage sale thing.
And you're going to try to replicate it.
Yeah, I've already got it. I'll show you in a second. But
that's cool. I like it.
I'm going to try to replicate it exactly like it is because I don't know. I just looked at this thing and
I love it too.
Yeah.
It's got that, kind of like characteristic old, just
it's still
simplistic,
Yeah. So that's
sometimes
my
more
entry.
simplistic things are actually just as good as the more,
Right.
Oh yeah.
And those are my favorite ones that are more simplified.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's why I just did the duck last year or last contest. So I just like the simple, cool ones. But hang on, I'll show you the pattern here. Can you So
you did it on your own.
Stop sharing. So I've got pages that I did. I don't know if you can see that well, but I've got it all. If you guys want these, I could probably turn these into a pattern and
Number 2 pencil.
send them to whoever wants them. Yeah,
Cool.
good old ink pen and tearing the whole thing apart. So there's not that many parts to it. It's just this. So that will be my entry into the whirligig contest this year.
Lynn's handcrafted wood sign said, "Jim, send it to Chris for painting."
I'm not kidding. I hate to paint. Len's got me, man. I know it just can't.
Yeah.
I hate to paint stuff, but I've got a bunch of those little small acrylic paint bottles we bought a couple of years ago to do stuff like this. So, so anyway, Aussie wants to know how many fence pickets it took to pull off the neighbor's fence, and it was 7 or 9 to do 2 boxes.
It's funny you were joking about the cedar price. I was down Home Depot price and lumber, thinking about taking a mortgage out for some lumber. And I noticed the cedar is actually more affordable than the rest of the wood right now.
It is.
It's because most of this was whitewood. It wasn't because I was just over at Woodcraft last week. I had to go on a call last week. I came back and I stopped at Woodcraft, and none of their lumber, none of their hardwood prices have gone up at all.
It's anything used for building homes.
Yeah, whitewood.
Yeah, plywood, 2x4, whatever. Because I called the lady that owns Lakeland Hardwood and Mill, and I buy my Baltic birch plywood in 4x8 sheets. And I called her and I said, "I'm really scared to ask you because I need a couple of sheets of plywood because I can get them 4x8 and cut them down. It's cheaper." And I said, "How's the Baltic birch?" She goes, "It's in the last, since I bought it last," she says, "it went up $2. So it went from $35 to $37 a sheet."
That's it.
And I went like, "Okay, I'll come over and buy a couple of sheets, before it goes up." She goes, "Yeah,
I'm on my way."
I've noticed that it's all doing anything to do with building houses. That's what's
construction lumber. Yep.
Yep. So
Even
I've
the
been
pressure
playing around
treated stuff
with my new laser, and that's one of the things I made. It's amazing. It would take me an hour probably to cut this out. Not an hour, but 45 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever. The laser cut this thing out in like a little over 4 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. It's like, so I'm like, oh wow, why do I'll just throw my scroll saw out the door? It's like I don't even need it anymore.
If you gotta do that, let me know. I'll swing by and you can put it on my truck.
Yeah. I mean, like that takes like a whole 3 or 4 minutes. This is Luan plywood that is like considered door skins.
Yeah.
That I do all my test cuts up. I bought like 5 or 6 sheets of this stuff. I don't know, last year sometime. And anytime I do any kind of testing, I always do it on Luon just to make sure it's going to work. Well, with the laser, it does it so good, I can sell this stuff out of Luon because it doesn't. When I try to cut this stuff on a scroll saw, it actually wants to flake and, just it's a terrible time. This is horrible stuff for a scroll saw, but for a laser, it's like, holy crap, this is good. Doing a little bit of that. I did. This is one of the things that I did here lately that everybody rant and raved about. And it's hard to see, but.
Put it on full screen.
All right.
Screen.
Share your screen. Share your screen.
Share screen. How do I do this,
You
Paul?
go to share. You go to share.
Go where it says share screen.
Hold on. I can't remember how to do it.
Just make yourself big.
You could do that too.
Hold on. I have actually forgot how to do it.
Well, I was going to help you, but I'm not going to now.
Yeah. And who were we mocking a few minutes ago? Okay.
Well, I don't remember how to do it now.
You gotta just make yourself big.
Yeah, make yourself full screen.
I tried that.
Sorry.
Well, it's not working. Here, hold on. Let me try it one more time. Hey, I joined the Paul Club. I'm old and decrepit and don't know what the hell I'm doing.
That's right. That's
Hey,
right.
I'm older than you, and I figured it out.
And the dues are cheap.
See, I got a legitimate excuse.
All right.
And,
Yep.
and that
Getting
excuse
somewhere.
is hey, while you're figuring that out, Aussie asked if you could cut patterns in a vinyl record.
No.
Seems like it would melt the vinyl record.
Yeah.
No, you can, but you get a poisonous gas on
Yeah,
it.
I was going to
That's
say,
the
does it
problem.
release chlorine or does it? Yeah.
Yes.
Guys,
Vinyl
PVC
that
is
is made
bad.
for vinyl records is got a specific type of consistency that it's a poisonous gas, not only like a poisonous gas, but a guy posted in one of the forums that I'm in that he cut vinyl records for like 3 weeks, and he would like leave the room. He figured like, I'll just leave the room. I won't be in there. Even though he had an exhaust, he goes, I'll leave the room. I won't be in there. Well, when he went to put a vinyl record in to cut it after 3 weeks, the laser wouldn't work. And when he opened the bottom of the cabinet, everything inside the bottom of the cabinet had rusted and corroded
Rotted out.
to the point that the unit would not work anymore. So it actually eat the metal and everything else inside that unit. He basically had to buy a new laser. So
Yep.
Okay.
I heard they're
But
doing
anyway.
it, but I think they're doing it with scroll saws.
Yeah, they
yes,
do it
you
with
can do it
scrolls.
with a scroll saw.
What's a scroll saw?
Yeah.
You can do it with a scroll saw, and there's no problem because the same thing won't happen with a scroll saw. All you have to do is get a not a double tooth blade, but a regular blade, and turn the power down. Because what happens when you cut through plastic with a reverse tooth blade is that cuts it up and down. It actually melts the plastic,
Yeah, let's gum
so
up.
it'll actually fuse it back together. So if you'll you can cut it on a scroll saw. But anyway, there's that. And anyway, this is that same cheap plywood. But anyway, one of the things that I found that was pretty cool with the new laser is this is a piece of tile. And what I did, ceramic tile, like for your shower or whatever. This is 6x8. What I did was cover the entire thing with blue painter's tape. uh, just because there was a reason for doing that. And then I turned the laser on and I let it burn this stuff through. Then after it burned and etched it all through, then I took a roller and rolled the painter's tape back down to make sure it was really good and stuck. And then I spray painted it all blue. And I let it sit for about 6 or 8 hours. Then I come back and peeled all the painter's tape. And trust me, the little pieces in here, I had to take a little razor blade and pull them all out. But what I ended up with this. And I could actually, any of the bleed over in any of the letters, I just took a razor blade and run it across the top of the tile, because this is engraved in a good 1/16 of an inch or more. And I could just cut the stuff that had got underneath the tape right off of it and make it really crisp and clear, where there is no bleed over whatsoever. And I'm like, no, that's pretty cool, because I could have done this in red or yellow, any color, whatever I want. And then you can use epoxy to put the hanger on the back, and you can hang this on the wall. I've got like 3 cases of this tile that I did. A guy sold it to me, and I did a bathroom in it, and I had a lot left over because he sold it to me so cheap that I bought all of it that he had. And so I have a bunch of this to work with. But and it won't. This is good paint. It's not going to come off. It stays right in there. I just thought it was neat that I take the razor blade after I cleaned it off, because I don't care what tape you use, it usually gets underneath the edge and leaves that little nasty looking. And I took a razor blade and I said, "What the hell? This is a test," and I just scraped it across it, and it took it all off, because this was the other part in here was so deep that it didn't affect it. It just took it off the top of the tile. The last one I have to show is I made a little trinket box, and the parts on this are so tight that it snapped together. I don't even have to have any glue. And then I did a little thing on the top of it, but to make it a little trinket box.
Nice.
But literally the joints in this, I can pull it apart. And what I thought about doing, rather than doing that, was run along the inside and run some super glue all the way up on each 4 corners. I can pull it apart, but I kind of have to force it. You see what I'm saying? It really snaps back in.
I don't know if I'd do a whole bead of super glue, maybe just a drop in the corners to hold it tight.
Yeah, just something to where it would. But I was really fascinated. I am fascinated with the new laser. I am. I'm like, wow, this took 5 minutes to cut. Do you realize how long this would have took me on a scroll saw? It was actually less than 5 minutes.
And would it be as accurate on a scroll saw?
Exactly. These things are it even has a little lip on the bottom. If you'll notice, it's recessed. The bottom is kind of recessed. So I tell you what, I'm in love with the new laser. It's like,
now in your
This-
opinion, you're going to get a lot more use out of that laser than you will a new CNC, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you got some questions in the chat. Brian Warner says that he sent you some files a while ago, and he wants to know if you've tried them at all. And then, let's see, Aussie Man wants to know if it's a Steve Good project.
No, this actually is not Brian Warner says he sent me some files.
Yes.
I'll have to go back and check, because Brian, I did not remember seeing the files you sent me. I'll go back and look and see. They might have went into I have that account. It depends on which one you send them to, whether it's contest or Russ is a account that I don't allow a lot of spam mail. So if it doesn't recognize it, it might have dumped into the spam file and I never saw it. So I'll have to go back and look.
He said he sent him in an email.
Okay. Well, it would have been either to Russ Clarity at Simply Wooden Creation or Russ at simplywoodencreation.com or contest at simplywoodencreation.com. And I have that spam folder really tight. It dumps tons of stuff in there because I just don't want the spam. So I'll look, Brian.
He said he
will
sent it
look
to
tomorrow,
Russ.
I promise. Yeah, I'll look. Oh, so it'd be Russ at simplywoodencreations.com. I'll look in that email and see if it was put them in the spam folder. Yes, this is, you can't cut this with a scroll saw this accurate. I'm good, and I've cut boxes before, and I put them together, and I actually surprised myself. And I'm not just saying that to brag. I'm just saying I have done it long enough that I actually sometimes surprise myself when I can cut boxes and put them together, and they're really that tight. But I can't do this with scroll saw this tight and this accurate. So Brian said there's about 30 files in there. Oh, Brian, I got to go back and look for this. Dude, how the heck did I miss that? I don't know where that was at. So yeah, I'll go back and look at it. But this one I actually engraved on the top.
Nice.
That was pretty cool, I thought. And one thing about it is when you engrave it on it, if it's engraved fairly deep, I've learned this as a little secret for those of you who are out there have a laser. When you engrave this on here on the lid, which I haven't done this, but I didn't glue this, so I can pop it back. Actually, I can pull this side out. What you do is, if you want to hide these little burnt edges on it, you take this piece and you lay it on the ground, lay it down, and you spray a coat of lacquer over it. Not a hard coat, just a coat of lacquer on it. So what that lacquer will do is go into all those burn places and seal them up, right? And then you take I have some microfine discs for my random orbital sander. And then you just really lightly, I actually hold my orbital sander in my hand and I take these and rub them across it. And it'll actually, the lacquer will seal in the soot to make these dark, but yet it will take off the flat surface, which will remove all the burn marks. So when you hold it up, you don't even know it's been burnt.
Chris Nealon's asking which laser you bought.
Do what?
Chris Nealon would like to know which laser you bought.
Oh, I bought a OM Tech 80 watt
CO2
Laser.
35 by 24 inch bed. OM Tech. It's a Chinese laser. Yes. But yeah, that's the way that I learned. I was like, there's got to be a simple way of taking care of these burn marks so that you don't notice that it's burnt. I mean, it's pretty obvious it's laser, but I don't like the little halo, if you look around it, that it leaves. Mm-hmm. And I'm learning the power because I did another one and it actually left no burn marks on it. So but you know what? Every piece of lumber is not the same. You can buy 20 sheets of Baltic birch plywood and all 20 sheets, each and every one of them are different. Okay. Really? So one you might get burn marks out of, and the next one you might not get burn marks on. But what I learned by spraying just a light coat of a lacquer over the top of it, it'll seal this dark in to the point that when you sand it, the sanding dust won't stick into the pores, but you can sand off that little light brown places around the edges and it looks perfect. I've done it 3 or 4 times and I was really, and I have actually Diablo makes those micro mesh sanding discs that I bought. I was going to contact who's my sponsor? Klingspor. I was going to contact Klingspor and ask them, do they have something like that? Because I'd never seen them before. I went into Home Depot one day and they had a big pack, a thick pack. It was called micro sanding discs. And it actually came with a actual disc that you put on your random orbital sander. And then these discs stuck to it, but they were like microfiber. And I'd never seen that before. And I bought every one they had in that store today, and I still use them to this day. So I need to contact Klingspor and see if Mike Klingspor has anything like that. Because I can literally hold this in my hand and rub that across it, just a few little strokes, and it'll take all that off, but yet it doesn't gouge into the material. So
those strips that I use for like turning pens and seam rippers and stuff like that, they might work too.
yeah,
They're about an inch wide. You get a box that's got like 6 different grits in them, and they're mesh. They're like micro mesh.
here I know what I should have done. I should not try to share. Everybody said share screen. What I should have done was this.
Oh,
Well,
jeez.
that's what I said. Make yourself
That's what
big.
Brent said.
That's what we thought you were trying to do.
I said it like 3 times.
Yeah, another little
That's
trick
why
that I
Paul
use
did.
with the laser is masking tape, and then you burn it and peel it off, and you got no shadowing like that. Right?
Yes, and that's what I did. Like I said, that's what I did with this. I masking taped the whole thing, burn it through, and then I took and I have a little roller, and I rolled it over to push the masking tape back down along these little edges, even though they got burnt. And then I spray painted the whole thing blue. I left it for a couple of hours, come back and peeled it off. And I had to take a razor blade to take out this little place in the E. I had to peel that tape out, or over here, you know what I'm saying? And once I got it all done, well, there were still some little frizzy parts around where the paint got up underneath the masking tape. But because this thing is so slick, and this is down like a 1/16 of an inch, I was able to take a razor blade and just push it across the top, and it cut every bit of that off and left it just as nice and clean as it could be.
Very cool.
It looks
And I'm
nice.
like, and that's going to stay there because, like I said, this is burnt down in there, and it's a good quality paint. I mean, I scratch it with my finger. You can see how I can scratch it, and it doesn't remove it. It's down in there.
Hey, Dixon, what is that stuff that you spray on metal if you want to etch with a laser on metal?
Yeah, I can't think the.
You know what I'm
the-
talking about? It's like
Yep, I can't think of the name of it. I'd have to look it up here because I've
Yeah,
just.
me too.
Yeah, it's a certain spray.
It's
Surtec.
expensive,
I think it's
remember right.
Surtec.
That might be
Surtec
it.
makes one that you can spray onto glass and different things on the diode lasers, the little one that I have, or Tour.
Mhm.
You can spray Surtec onto glass and etch it, and then wash the Surtec off, and the Surtec allows it burns the Surtec, which burns it into the glass.
Yeah, yeah. It's this stuff's called Cermac.
Yeah, well, that's
6000 metal marking spray.
yeah, that's all right. That's basically the same as the other stuff. Now, the one that I had, now my new laser doesn't need that. It will etch glass.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That thing will do anything.
Yeah, it'll etch glass. It
Yeah.
cuts through 1/8" plywood like hot butter.
Not even breathing hard.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's like I'm watching it going, zzz, 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 and then it goes back over and goes home, and the little piece falls down. I'm going like, that would have took me 3 hours to cut that on a scroll saw. You know,
Now you'll have to experiment with the tiles where I painted one green, and then I painted the top with Rust-Oleum black, and then I set the laser just to take off the black, and then there was the Incredible Hulk in the background. It turned out really
Yes.
nice.
Yes, that's one of the things I want to look at. Mine will cut. My 80 watt will cut 1/2 inch thick plywood. Yes, it will cut 1/2 inch thick. I have only done 1/4 inch so far, and it cut through 1/4 inch without any. I've done 1/8 and 1/4, and it just slices right through it without any problem. I will tell you, the little air pump that they sent it for the air assist for cutting, it's a piece of crap.
Yep.
So what I did was I disconnected it and tied it to my 100-gallon, 150 PSI compressor out back. And I put an inline regulator so I can run it about 20 to 20. If I run it a little bit more than 20 PSI pressure on that little tiny hose, it'll actually blow the hose off the couplings. I ran it at like 25 the other day, and all of a sudden, as it was cutting, I heard it went everywhere.
I bought a big aquarium pump for mine. It's got like a header that came with it with 5-6 valves on it.
Yeah.
And man, it keeps the fire blown out. I got to tell you.
Yeah. So I have to only run it I can regulate it up to about 20, and 20 is the max. And now if I wanted to go through and replace all the hose all the way back through and put a little bit heavier duty hose, I'm sure. But at 20 PSI, let me tell you, it's like it blows everything. And then the next thing I had to replace was the fan, the exhaust fan. Yeah, the one they put in there is a piece of crap. I bought me a heavy duty one that moves 450 cubic feet per minute or whatever, and put it in there, and took the other one out and put this one in there. I mean, it's like you're sitting there watching it. The air assist pushes smoke away from everything that you're burning, and the fan that I put in sucks it so quick that it's like a little cloud that goes around it. It's just being sucked right out so fast. And then you walk outside and you go because your whole yard's full of smoke.
I bought I ran a bunch of ductwork up in the ceiling here when we closed in the ceiling, but I bought one of those booster duct fans that comes with like a 4 or 6 inch galvanized metal, like a regular ductwork thing going on, and it's got a fan built into it. So when I turn the laser on, it turns on the fan that came with the laser plus that duct fan, and man, it pushes the stuff out all the way out to an extra dryer vent that we had.
Yeah.
Push it out that way. Hey, we're running pretty far behind on comments in the chat.
Yeah, I know.
One of the big ones was, where'd it go? Somebody wanted.
Brian Warner said, I can remove a single coat of spray paint if I want. Yeah, my little Ortour will do that. It's a 20 watt, but Dixon really quickly pointed out when I first bought it, it's not 20 watt, Russ. It's actually a 5.5 watt output. They trick you. It's a 20 watt power consumption.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
for
yes,
5 watt optical output.
Yes, mine will remove a single coat of spray paint on that little Ortour. I wanted a Mac Daddy. 80 watts. This thing has a 35 by 24 inch bed. So,
Aussie Man wants to know, how do you make your laser cut a scroll saw pattern?
It's nothing to it. It will cut a scroll saw pattern. You just turn it over into an SVG or a DXF and import it into light burn, and it'll cut it just as slick as can be.
Russ also, hang on, I got to scroll back up. Chris wanted you to put the link to your laser in the chat if you could, or
I will later. Brian Warner said mine is a 60 watt variation of your 80 watt. Okay, yes. Yeah. Mine's OM Tech. It's a China laser. I tell you what, I am impressed with it. and I've been talking with Steve Good, which has been following lasers for quite some time, and I know Dixon has also. Mine, they've OM Tech is kind of like started out as a cheap variation of lasers, but really quick, like they were selling them. Somebody in that business decided, like, you know what? We can make little improvements that makes these machines so much better, and we'll sell more of them. and that's what they've been doing. Mine has a digit. Somebody argued with me the other day and said, yours don't have that. They only sell them with 100, 150 watts. And I'm like, well, I don't know who the hell told you that they don't sell them on mine, but mine has it. They have a digital now power supply for the laser. It's actually digital. It actually has a digital imprint or a digital screen to tell you how much putting it out. And you can actually adjust the power that's going to your laser on that. In other words, if I put that little knob down to 0 and I hit the laser just to point to where it's at, where it should burn, nothing comes out. If I set it on max, it'll burn a hole through the plywood. So it actually focuses the laser. So I can actually turn the power up or down on the fly. So instance, if I'm burning something and something starts to engrave and I went like, even though I've done it before, but the wood is, wood is different. It doesn't matter if you buy the same sheet, it can be soft on one end, hard on the other end. I don't care. Wood is different. It has a unique characteristic of being that way. So I could actually start burning something and seeing like, wow, even though I used those settings on the piece before, this is too hot. I can on the fly turn that knob down and reduce the laser power automatically. Now, how I figured this out was Dixon and Steve Good and everybody's told me, put this analog meter on your laser and it'll work, and you can see mine won't take it. Mine will not take it. Why? Because it's digital, and it that messes with it, and I thought I'd burnt my laser. I was like livid. I thought I fried my laser. And come to find out, I found out that the digital laser has a self-protection mode that if you leave it alone for like 30 or 45 minutes, it'll reset and come back online. And so I called Dixon. I was like, man, I think I screwed my laser up. And Dixon's like, you didn't screw it up. And I'm like, this is what I did. He goes, you have to let the door open or something. There can't be. And I said, no, I didn't leave the door open. So we went back and forth, and I went like, so finally I called him back or texted him back and said, Dixon, I found out that if you just leave it alone, it'll reset. So I took everything off and put it back the same way it was that it come from factory. And I let it sit for an hour, went back and turned it on, and sucker worked. So I said, I ain't putting that damn digital meter on my machine no more.
Yeah,
you need it wouldn't work, Dixon.
You need a DAC on there, which is a digital to analog converter. So you can take the wire from the digital pulse signal, put it into an analog converter, and then you'll be able to put your analog meter on there.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's reset itself to defaults?
No, what it does is if it has any problems or whatever, it will like it'll shut itself off. Like let's say you have a lightning strike, which will
obliterate the PC board in it. Yeah.
Well, it's not like a surge. It's like a surge protector. Let's say you have a lightning strike and you have a surge, right?
Yeah, that power supply protects itself.
It will protect itself and shut itself off.
It resets.
And you wait 30, 45 minutes to an hour and power it back up, and it comes back on and it works. It's actually a very expensive power supply that they have put inside of these cheap Chinese units.
It's like a class 2 power supply.
Yeah.
Tech, what they did was they cut a deal with a U.S. company. So the U.S. company gets them from China. They upgrade all the wiring to the right size. They put in a Rudy controller, and then they're excellent lasers, and then they sell them like
Well,
that.
that's what me and Steve Good figured out.
And a new power
What's
supply.
happening is this company is buying the lasers from China,
Yep.
stock
Mhm.
lasers, and they're bringing them into California because
Yep.
that's where mine come from. And what they're doing is taking these stock lasers and they're changing parts on them, like they're putting the better power supply, this and that other stuff on them. They're hiking the price up, which is okay, and they're
And
selling
it's
them.
worth it.
Yep.
Yes, and it's worth it. And it's worth it.
You guys
They're-
would
they're
not
trying-
believe what kind of an industry that is right now. Because I've got customers that buy like bottling machines and stuff from China, and they come in, they strip the controls off of them, they
Yep.
change a few because the mechanical parts of them are okay. They're good enough, you know. But they'll strip the controls off. They'll put Allen Bradley stuff all over it, you know.
Yep.
And new sensors, stuff like that, and they sell them for an ungodly amount of money and still make a lot of money off of them. So that's a
Yeah.
big industry right now. It's
Brian
it's
Warner
actually
is
pretty cool to do.
Brian Warner says, I use Lightburn programming. Yes, I do. I use Lightburn. I can't stand RD Works. I wouldn't use RD Works. And he says he can do the same thing. And he says the trick with light cuts for paint layers is you find your minimum power that still works and play with the speed. So you just remove as much paint as you need. Yes. So what he's saying is you can take a white tile and you can spray paint it black. And then you can come back and have the laser come across and burn your pattern. And what it'll do is it'll burn the black paint off of the tile, but leave your pattern there. So you'll see the white through the black, so to speak. And I've seen a
So
lot of people.
Do you guys, Russ and Brian, do you use that camera option on that? So that
I haven't as of yet. I haven't.
Brian,
as
have
of
you
yet.
played with that yet? Could you put that in the chat?
I have now. I have the camera on the O Tour. I installed the camera on the Tour, and that's pretty nice. You can
You got a
actually
camera?
set the
Wow.
piece. Yeah, I can set the piece in my little 5.5 watt. I can set the piece on the board and turn the camera on and have it align it up, and then drag my artwork over and put it on the piece and lock it in, and it'll burn it right there.
Aussie man, for that question that you had a while back, if you run laser Gerbil, you can take any black and white JPEG image and just bring it into laser Gerbil, and it'll convert it so you can laser it right away. You don't have to do anything.
Lightburn does the same thing.
Yeah.
Lightburn does the same thing. And Brian Warner says you can do it with spray paint on canvas. And yes, you can do canvas the same way as you can do tile. Yes.
Brian, has anybody out here done like leather yet?
You can do leather.
Name tags and stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can do leather. Leather's not a problem.
My wife's threatening to go to China to get her
Well, you just have, with the leather, the
tags for her
problem
purses.
Leather
The problem with the
smells, but
leather-
you got to cover it with tape, and then you get no marks.
right,
What?
and also is it's like any
Oh,
other thing. You
okay.
have to discover. You'll have to play around and discover the power settings, the speed and the power for cutting or etching or whatever that particular thing. And each, you need to do a test is what you need to do. When you get your
Yeah.
laser, you need to do a test to find out the speed and the power and of your laser, because each one of them has little different characteristics. They're a little off one way or another.
Yeah. And you have to use the
Yes.
tape because you get burn marks so bad on leather. So I use
Yes.
masking tape.
Yeah. She just
Brian
yelled down
Ward
that she
is-
found a place in Florida that does them.
Yeah,
You tell your
yes,
wife
he's
that
done
you
that.
need to buy a laser like Russ has, and you can do anything.
Yeah. We don't have any room for it, Dixon. Otherwise, I'd have one. Like, right?
This thing is almost. It's a 24 by 35. So it's almost 4 foot long by 3 foot wide.
It's like a small
machine.
chest freezer.
It weighs 454 pounds.
The 60 watt, you could take the legs off and you can get it through a doorway, turning it sideways.
I have 6 foot openings in my shop, so I push mine right through without any problem. I didn't go through that. Excuse me. I didn't go through that bathroom incident where the tub would fit inside the bathroom after I ordered the tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made sure that my doors would fit this thing in there. But the problem is I have a workbench in there that I'm going to end up taking out so I can shove the laser back and give more room in my shop. I don't use the workbench that much anymore anyway. When I was doing a lot of scroll saw and some other stuff, I was using it. So I'm just going to tear the workbench out of the shop so I can shove it back to the wall.
You don't have to worry about a snowdrift getting in by your tube, though.
Yeah.
Aussie Mans wants to know how much it costs. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
I think you've said it before.
You can get their 60 watt. It's a little smaller than Russ's for about 27. Russ's is a bigger one, so his is going to cost more. He's got a lot of better things on it.
Yeah, mine came with auto bed lift, auto focus. I mean, I got the Mac Daddy.
Yeah, the 60 watt, you got to turn a knob by hand to raise and lower it. I would throw
I put my piece underneath there and push a button, and it comes up and level, and the little thing touches it and sets it to the height. Yeah,
That's nice.
But your laser you got is nice. You got to remember, if you want to go to a different company in the U.S., you're going to pay $17,000.
Yes. Yeah. Let's put it this way. It was more than 3 and less than 5.
Aussie, China and Australia are pretty tight right now. You could probably get it cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I do is I just put the piece. First off, I turn the laser on if I need to adjust it, and I lower the bed down, and then I stick the piece underneath the laser, and then I push auto, whatever, I can't remember, and the bed comes up and it touches. Yeah, autofocus, and it comes up and touches the little thing, and then it goes down and stops, and it's perfectly focused for me. Yeah.
We got people out in the chat that said you don't want to say what it costs because your wife might find out if she wants.
No, actually, she knew exactly what I was buying and when I bought it and how much it cost, so she didn't have a problem with it. She says, "Here was her conversation with me. Am I going to have to make payments?" And I said, "Nope." She goes,
"Buy it,
buy it." So. And no, it was not $4,999.99. I got it for a really good deal. Actually, I had watched this thing, and for some reason, I bought it off of eBay from OM Tech site in California, and this thing sit there for 3 weeks, and I was wondering why won't anybody buy it? And I got to checking around, and it was a little pricey because of the things it had on it. In other words, the autofocus, auto bed leveling. I mean, it had the better air pump. I mean, there were several things that it had on it, and I was like,
picture those on Tuesday.
So yeah, so I said, since nobody is wanting it, I'm going to make a bid on it, and I made a bid on it, and within 24 hours they came back and said, "We accept your bid." I said, "Okay."
What did it cost to ship it to you from California?
Nothing. They paid for shipping.
Wow, really?
They paid for shipping. Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, they paid for shipping. So, yeah, so they paid for shipping. And I'm really pleased with it. It was a pain in the butt because my son went with me to pick it up, and we had no idea. Let's put it this way. What's the in a normal pickup truck, what's the width between the wheel wells and the bed of a pickup truck?
About 49 inches.
About Paul?
This
Doing
thing fit in there with about a half inch to spare on each side. That was in the crate now. That was in the crate.
It's about 60 watts wide.
Yeah. So when we got home, my son said, he looked at me and said, "And me and you're going to get this thing out of the back of my truck?" And I went like, "Well, I think we better call some help." Yeah.
So, hey, over in the chat, we've got some excuses for why you were able to buy it. And one of them, Ken McCrory, said, "Did you find something floating in the ocean?"
No.
And then
No,
Chris Wheeler came up and said, "If your wife didn't have to make payments, does she ask you where you were hiding the money?"
No.
And then Brian Mortar said, "Of course, she was on a trip and on the phone when you bought it." So,
Hey,
But
hey
no,
Dixon.
but yeah, I ended up calling my son-in-law and my other son. It took four of us, well, four of them and one of me that ain't worth a flip for lifting to get it out of the back of the truck. What we actually did was uncrate it because there was the crating material was actually, it was over 500 pounds. The crating material was 110 pounds. We stripped all that off, which left the 450 something pound laser, and they were actually, the four of them were actually able to pull it out of the back of the truck and set it on the ground, and it had wheels, so we're able to roll it into the shop.
Hey Dixon, does temperature extremes bother those, either real cold temperature or real hot temperature?
Yes, electronics runs better in cooler temperatures, but you cannot have that out in the garage like where you and I live. There's no way it would get ruined in a heartbeat. Your liquids would, even if you put antifreeze and run it through the tubes, you're going to have freezing situations that it's not good. I would have one in my 40 watt is in the basement.
Well, let's put it this way, Paul. I know what you're getting to, and guess what? Ever since I bought that, the air conditioning in my shop has been running 24 hours a day.
do you have like a temperature monitor on the water that circulates through it?
Yes.
What's it usually run at?
It needs to run around 60 to 65 Fahrenheit, which is something different in centigrade, but I converted it. It needs to be about
a chiller. You have a chiller, right, on that unit?
Nope.
Chiller?
I use a 5-gallon bucket with ice.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I use, and then I have one of them little plastic. I have one of them little plastic wheels in line to see it turning. Then you know the water's flowing.
Mine has that automatically. Mine will.
Okay.
Mine has the automatic flow rate meter, and it tells me what the flow is and everything on it. So, no, I ordered it without it, and it sent a pump. I put it in a 5-gallon bucket. I take a 1-gallon jug of milk, and that I drank and cleaned it out and freeze it. I drop that in the 5-gallon bucket, and I leave it in there for about 30 minutes. Then come back and turn the laser on and let it start flowing. And 5 gallons of water with a 1-gallon bucket of a milk jug full of ice will keep it about 60 to 65 degrees perfectly all day long.
Oh, you just use the jug to measure out the ice. I thought you were making cereal with it or something.
I take a 1-gallon milk jug, fill it full of water, and freeze it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I do. And I stick it in the pail with a fish tank.
Stick it in the pail and let it sit there for a little bit and turn the water cooler on, let it start circulating. And that 1 gallon in that 5 gallons will keep that thing between 60 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit all day long.
I got lucky because my laser tube has got to be over 20 years old.
Yeah, if I don't turn the water thing on, or if I can take the hose and I can crimp it, and the laser will stop because it's got an automatic thing that senses that water flow.
Flow detection.
Yep. Yeah, if I crimp the hose, it will stop. Now it doesn't. I have a thing for. Well, I don't know. I haven't read or haven't tested it as far as I don't know if it knows how hot if it gets, if it'll shut off or not. But I would assume it does. but I know it will shut. If I crimp the hose and the water quits flowing, the laser will shut off.
Oh, hey, you remember when we were talking about hoarding projects and stuff in the chat before the show? Add a temperature and flow meter for my laser to that.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. I got like a little rotometer for the flow and a flow rate monitor and stuff.
That's what I need to put on my CNC because I've got a
sent-
water-cooled spindle.
They sent with my laser a big, I mean, it's not small. This thing is like huge aquarium pump. I'm talking about it's a good
Water or air?
A water pump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably 6 or 8 inches long by at least 4 or 5 inches wide. It's huge. And they sent a bucket also, but they sent a little pail. I put it in a bucket. And they sent all the tubes and everything to hook it up. So I just put it in a 5-gallon bucket, dropped it down in there, put the I put the ice in it and filled it up to a certain point where I knew. So when I take the ice in and out, it stays the same level. And like I said, a 1 gallon of ice in a milk jug in 5-gallon bucket with the water in it will keep that thing between 60 and 65 for 5 or 6 hours without any problem. I think it says, if I looked on the thing and converted it, it's supposed to be between 60 to 64 Fahrenheit, but it's different in Celsius. You have to convert it. I think it's between 60 and 64, which it recommends. So, yeah, I know. Brian Warner said a CW 5000 chiller runs about $350, and I plan on getting one later on. I'll get one later on. I got to pay the damn laser off first. So, all right, guys. I was already supposed to be out of here. Cutting out of here. I tell you what, as a Chinese laser, and I knew it was Chinese when I bought it, and OM Tech, one of the doors, the latches on the doors broke. I contacted them immediately and told them when it got here, and they immediately come and said, we're sending you a new. They have been out of the box. Most people said you have to align your mirrors. Out of the box, the mirrors were perfectly aligned. I didn't have to align the mirrors. Out of the box, everything worked. I'm talking about I didn't have to do nothing other than plug it in, hook up a few things, like you have to hook up normally, and it fired off and ran. So I can't say enough about OM Tech lasers there. And even Steve Good and I were talking about that. He said they're impressive. They're impressive. They're going to control the market, because when you go to what is the Epilogue, that's $10,000 for a laser of my size, and I can get mine for a whole lot less than that, and it pretty much does it. I'm not going to say it's the same, and I'm not going to say it's perfect like the Epilogue, but when you can get comparable burns and stuff with it for $6,000 less, they're putting a hurting on Epilogue. I can tell you that right now. Out of the box, it worked. I didn't have any problems with it. 2 of the locks on 2 of the doors and shipping broke, and and it didn't hurt the laser because they were actually taped together. When I opened them, I noticed the locks were broke. How the hell they got broke? Bouncing around in shipment, I have no idea. I didn't have to align mirrors. I didn't have to do nothing other than plug it in and hook up the water stuff to it and turn it on, and it worked perfect. So I'm very impressed with it. Now UPS on the other side, they can kiss my ass. Because I had 4 days in a row, they promised me it would be here. I ended up taking a pickup truck and going over to their service center in Tampa, 30 miles from me, and picking it up and bringing it home on my own because I got tired of the bull crap. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being out there. Brian Warner, thank you for being out there. I appreciate that. Jim Dockrell, Ken McCrory, James Parker, I know has been out there. Lynn's Handcrafted Wood Designs.
Ryan was there.
Yeah, Appalachian Heritage Wood Shop. Aussie Man. All y'all been out there, and I appreciate y'all being out there very much. Listen, if you're too darn busy to be out in your shop and make some sawdust, you're just too darn busy. Just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching, and we're out of here. What's funny about it is Chris, your volume.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know who did that.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's what Chris said. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you all for being here.